Good morning or good day, and welcome back to the third and last day of Imagine EMEA 2022. Glad to have you guys with us again for a third day. I think hopefully if you managed to join us the last couple of days, I think we had some really insightful sessions around this entire question of how we as a channel, as a collective, have to evolve in this new software-centric intangibles world to serve a new style of customer wanting to consume or buy new solutions in a new way, I guess. The topic for today in particular is, are you actually selling the way that your customers want to buy? And we will hear from Rakesh Prabhu from in his role as CTO, his perspective on this question, I guess. Right after that, we will go into a keynote from Ken Hughes, what I feel quite an inspirational and interesting keynote speaker. He is a consumer and B2B behaviorist and bringing those two worlds together. So I think that will be really interesting to hear, and hopefully will also give some food for thought and input to our panelists in the discussion that will follow right after that. I'm particularly actually looking forward to the vendor breakout sessions today because they will focus a little less on the technology solutions and more around the mechanics, support, programs, offerings that those vendors have in place or are building out at the moment to support you as channel partners in this new software-centric world. And of course, we will continue with our regional partner awards, and then make sure to definitely come back in the afternoon to the auditorium where we will finish the event on a big bang with our EMEA Partner of the Year Awards ceremony. Usual morning call-outs as every day. Check out our exhibition area. Go into the booth of any vendors that you're interested in or want to explore more with or off. Have a chat one-on-one with our experts there, or request a follow-up call. Go into Imagine Realize, book yourself in for some deeper dive follow-up events. And obviously, or not obviously, but on top of just learning and exploring, you can also win some pretty cool prizes along the way. Same during the break, we have a little memory game for you guys to have some fun with as well and win some vouchers. And then lastly, join the conversation on social media as well, right? Tag us on LinkedIn. We're on @WestCon Europe on LinkedIn, and our Twitter handle is WestCon Comstore. Hashtag Imagine 2022. Let us know what you think, any feedback, and yeah, just get involved, I guess. We have a full agenda, so I won't dawdle, and I will call Rakesh Prabhu, our global CTO and SVP EMEA, onto the stage to give us our WestCon leadership vision piece. Hey, Rak, good morning.
Hey, Carmen, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone, and thanks, Carmen, for the introduction. It's my pleasure to be the opening speaker at day 3 of Imagine EMEA. I hope all of you have had great experience over the last 2 days, and looking forward to a 3rd day of content. And I hope you found a lot of value in spending the time with us in these last few days. So, as Carmen mentioned, the topic that I'm going to talk about, just to set the scene today, is really, are you as partners, are you selling the way your customers want to buy? And there's a lot of change that's been going on in our industry, and I suppose our industry never changes, and there's always something new coming about. But the way customer behavior in terms of how they want to purchase their technology solutions is certainly evolving. So I just want to touch on a few topics around that. And I think at the start, so on the first slide, I'd like to just talk to you about our marketplaces. And I suppose there's lots of hype in this industry around marketplaces and offerings and what previously were called portals. But ultimately, it's about providing that digital ability for you as our partners to be able to interact with us from a transactional perspective and rich content perspective. And so I'm sure many of you are aware that over the last couple of months, we introduced our combined marketplace, bringing together a number of our different tools called Partner Central. And really what that takes is, I suppose, and helps us to leverage the existing platforms that we've had for traditional purchasing, cloud subscription offers, as well as our learning management offerings, as well as some of our portals that cater for rich content around particular technologies, and bringing all of those together into one area and utilizing single sign-on, making it easier for you to access all of those tools, and making sure that it's secure as well in terms of how you access our marketplace. And this is really allowing us to scale a lot more effectively and bringing in more solutions and offerings to you as partners over time. We're building in more self-service capabilities and wanting to make it easier for you to access the things you need at the right time. And when you're talking to our people, making sure that those conversations are more valuable to you and ultimately helping you succeed in your markets. And I'll talk a little bit about hybrid cart over the next slide. But what we have done, is we've leveraged about 24 months of development work and integrations with our top partners and vendors. And ultimately, that means that you won't have to, because by utilizing our marketplace, you're getting access to all of that capability. So if we just jump to the next slide, and I wanted to give everybody a little bit of a sneak peek, I suppose, of what's coming in the not too distant future. So you've already got access to Partner Central today, but behind the scenes, we're working on the evolution of that and the additional enhanced capabilities. And one of the things we're building out is a hybrid cart capability that will allow the the transacting of subscriptions, traditional physical tangible goods, maintenance and renewals, all in one particular area. So one easy place to go to bring all of that together and allowing you to purchase those things at the same time. And we're now also introducing features like projects capability, where different carts could be combined around different projects that you may be working on. So all of this is coming up in our next release, which will happen in the second half of this year. But I'm really excited about some of the features and functionality that we're building in. And I really think this is going to take our marketplace to the next level. And that will hopefully serve you better and allow you to be able to work with us on a digital platform in a simpler and easier way. The next topic that I wanted to talk about in terms of moving from the transactional capabilities that we have and how you want to work with us is into solutions lifecycle management. And on the next slide, you'll see just a high-level overview of what solutions lifecycle management is to us. And I've spoken about this before on a number of forums. We've also released a lot of content, over the last year around this. But ultimately, it's around the fact that end customer needs are changing. They want to look at OpEx solutions. They want to focus on outcomes and business outcomes for their businesses, not just the transaction or the purchasing of technology. At the same time, our vendors are releasing new types of offerings to the market, more subscriptions, more move to software as a service and licensing and cloud, as opposed to tangible products, or at least a combination of those. And so, of course, we know that puts a lot of pressure on you as partners to be able to accommodate this change in behavior from both your customers, but also from the vendors that you work with. And so, we put together this framework ultimately to help you navigate this new world. And it's an evolution, not a revolution. But of course, different customers and different vendors are at different stages within this sort of life cycle approach. And really, the couple of the main call outs, are around the fact that we need to look at how you're selling in terms of outcomes-based conversations with partners that ultimately deliver a better experience for the end customers. If we could just move to the next slide, and I'd like to just call out a few components of solutions lifecycle management, which I think are quite relevant. So firstly, adoption and consumption are really vital for retention. And this isn't just about stopping or reducing churn, where a partner or a customer may decide they don't want a particular piece of technology, but it can also be used to enable growth. At the end of the day, and I think it's fairly logical for all of us when we think about it, but if a customer is using a solution and seeing the value from it, they're likely to purchase more of that technology or more receptive to complementary solutions that they can add to it. And so, a real focus around, are the customers really utilizing the technology that they've purchased and consuming it, are incredibly important in this world where it's about subscriptions. On a monthly basis or maybe an annual basis, a customer could decide that they're not seeing value from technology, or they haven't actually deployed it correctly into their environment. And if that's the case, they're unlikely to continue with it, and they're certainly not likely to add any additional features to it. So focusing on how customers ultimately adopt the technologies that they've also purchased helps you to align with their business outcomes ultimately, and allows them, to maximize value across the lifetime of the solution, but also make sure that there's a closer engagement with yourselves. Following on from that, and on the next slide, I think if we look at expansion, expansion ultimately kind of flows from that level of adoption. And where you've got the insights into what's in the installed base, you can ultimately look at where the potential gaps are in terms of opportunities that exist for new features and add-ons that will complement what the end customers already bought. Sorry, if we could just move to the next slide, because it didn't seem to change on my side. Sorry, there we go. Ultimately, expanding a sale has a number of different benefits. One, it probably lengthens the time that customer is going to work with yourselves. And it really, if they're expanding the solutions, it means they're seeing value. There's obviously a revenue opportunity and a margin opportunity for all of you as partners in expansion, because it's increasing the amount of total spend that you're receiving from that customer. But it's also an extremely strong indicator that a customer is getting value out of the technology that they've purchased. If we move on to the next slide, which is really talking to technology refresh, ultimately products come to end of life, products maybe get old and are no longer fit for purpose. When you're looking at refresh, it's the opportunity to make sure that your customers are getting the latest and greatest things that will serve their business better. And we've got to look at those end of life scenarios and when is the best time to potentially make a move to something new. It might be moving from a traditional type of consumption of technology into a more consumptive basis, be that as a service type offerings, or maybe even looking at pay-per-use type solutions. And the tech refresh opportunity within the solutions lifecycle ultimately gives you as a partner the ability to talk to your end customer around what the latest innovations are and where you can go from there. But finally, on the next slide, talking around renewals, this has been the lifeblood of a number of our businesses for many years, and all of this still fits together. But if we're not proactive together on the renewal opportunities, you could have end customer dissatisfaction. You could even have business disruption if a renewal is not handled on time and in the correct way. So making sure that renewals are driven proactively, upfront, looking at what's in the installed base, providing those notifications and quotes on time and early enough helps that partner to evolve and continues around that life cycle chain. The key thing that we see that underpins all of this solutions lifecycle approach, as per the next slide, is the data that we have. And it's pretty much the backbone of how we drive out lifecycle services. So if we just jump to the next slide, when we're looking at the life cycle, it's about really understanding, do we know what's available to renew? Do we have the data around what potential areas are where there may be refresh opportunities, the data around where there's an opportunity to expand? And working with our vendor partners, as well as the data that we've collected over a number of years, we're starting to put that into intelligent dashboards that we're able to present to you. And this is something we're continuously evolving. On our Marketplace Partner Central, we currently have data insights that gives you a view of upcoming renewals further than just, say, a quarter down the line, but allows you to predict and see what's coming into the future. But over time, and our teams are utilizing the same data to work with your teams around what are the opportunities for refresh, and expansion and upsell, opportunities that may come down the line. And they're utilizing some of those playbooks and scripts and are able to send you that information so you can have that conversation with your partners. Ultimately, we're bringing more and more of this into our marketplace so that we want to be able to help you and provide that data to you to make sure that you are more successful in your business and with your end customers. Lastly, the last thing I want to touch on in the next slide is really about flexible financial solutions. So as we've got these marketplace offerings where we want to transact digitally, we've got solutions lifecycle where we're not just looking at an initial sale, but the overall evolution of technology. How end customers want to procure is also changing. And there are a lot of demands from certain industries and certain end customers to be able to turn things into an OpEx solution to help them manage their budgets more effectively, or to have a more predictable payment schedule over the course of their financial years. So we've built out a suite of flexible financial solutions that we're offering in certain markets at the moment across Europe. We'll look to expand those, as demand exists and the capability exists in different geographies. But we feel that we need to look at not only the technology that we're selling, but also how end customers ultimately want to pay for it. So these are the main areas, the three main pillars, I suppose, that we are focusing on when it looks at how we're taking into account ultimately how we see customers wanting to buy and the support that you need from us as partners to be able to execute and deliver successfully for those partners. So thanks very much for listening to me this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll hand back over to Carmen.
Thank you, Rakesh. Yeah, thanks for taking the time, and really interesting to see. I think an important takeaway, if nothing else, out of those 3 leadership keynotes actually was the common denominator being a heavy focus and investment on tooling and platforms to drive partner success, right? So yeah, I think a really exciting time coming for us, right? Yeah, so
absolutely. I'm super excited. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks a lot. And I guess with Rakesh's call out around solution lifecycle management and our marketplace in mind, let's have a listen to our keynote speaker of the day as well, which I think will tie in actually quite nicely. So I'm really excited to introduce Ken Hughes, who will be joining us for our keynote this morning. He's a top expert on B2B and consumer buying behavior, I guess. He advises some really large global blue chip organizations on customer experience, omni-channel strategy, AI, retail trends, digital transformation, the millennial and Gen Z sort of buying evolution, I guess, and peer-to-peer economy, and all these very rather interesting topics, which I think start feeding into what we're doing and the topic of the event actually really nicely. So let's see his thoughts on how those end user and consumer changes in our world and our expectations as a consumer are affecting our B2B environment as well. Over to you, Ken.
Marianne, for that kind introduction. And look, let me get straight into it. I only have the 20 minutes with you. So I've called today's speech The Race for Relevance, the values of the blue dot customer. And what does that mean? It means that we're heading into a phenomenal decade of disruption. I mean, look what happened in the very first day of our new decade. New Year's Eve, this picture was taken in Australia as the country was practically burning down. A week later, Harry and Meghan left the royal family. A day later after that, we had the first death in the Wuhan market from COVID. And then, of course, came the global pandemic. Only 10 weeks later, all over the world, we had this pandemic sweeping the nations. Now, the streets were empty. We were told to wear PPE. Do you remember these pictures straight out of Spain? People trying to manage as best they can in this strange new eras of disruption. We were all told to work from home, and that was easy if you didn't have children. If you had children, you had to tape them to the floor so that they stopped getting up to all sorts of mischief while you were trying to work. And then just flash forward 1 year later only, we had a ship stuck in the Suez Canal, which disrupted the supply chain all over the world, effects still being felt. And then flash forward 1 year again where we are today. So the COVID pandemic seems to be kind of easing off in terms of its effect. We're mostly herd immunity and vaccinated. And just when we thought we were coming out the other side, we now have a war. So if that's any kind of feeling for you, we are in a decade of disruption. And people keep talking about, are you ready for the new normal? New normal kind of dictates that we're somehow returning to the way things used to be. I call it the never normal. That's where we are. We're in this never normal economy, and you as a vendor, no matter who you are in the supply chain and the value chain, whether you're a vendor, a reseller, a distributor, a user, a consumer, a customer, B2B, B2C, we're in this never normal world. Lauren Bacall had a wonderful quote. She was a Hollywood actress. She said that standing still was the fastest way to move backwards in a rapidly changing world. And that's where we are. We're in a rapidly changing world. So how we sell and what our customer expects of us is changing so fast that unless we change with it, we end up moving backwards. Let me explain what I mean when I talk about relevance. I travel the world doing this job. I stand on stages all over the world performing, and every hotel that I stay in gives me these. These are Ethernet ports. Now, I haven't plugged, nor do I know anybody who has plugged a laptop into an Ethernet port in the last 5-10 years, maybe, definitely 5, and they still give them to me in every hotel. I started putting candies inside of them, knowing that they will be there forever. But then think about what I do at the end of the day. What's the first thing you do before you go to sleep in a hotel? You want to charge your phone, of course. So you go to plug your phone into the edge on your locker at the edge of the bed. And guess what? I'm sure many of you have had this experience. You're in your hotel room and there are no plug sockets next to the bed. In fact, the plug socket's on the other side of the room where you've now to leave your phone away from your locker. And you don't like that because you want to be connected to your device. That's a dissatisfied moment. What you wanted in terms of relevance was a plug at the side of your bed, even better maybe just the USB connection without needing the adapter. That's relevance. It's really, really simple. I don't need Ethernet ports. What I need is a USB port next to my locker, and in a hotel that doesn't give me one, you've failed. Relevance is really simple. I was moving house recently. I opened that drawer here, the drawer of stuff that you gather in your house, and I took out my Garmin and I threw the piece of hardware in the bin because I have no use for that. It is irrelevant to me because it was replaced by a piece of software called Google Maps on my phone, which is much more efficient. In fact, 18 months after Google launched Google Maps, 85% of the market capitalization of the GPS industry was wiped out. Imagine one app killed an entire industry. It's really, really scary. That's what we talk about disruption and how we sell differently all the time. Look at this. This is Uber Fix. It was a test in a number of US cities looking at the roadside recovery industry because 75% of all the breakdowns in major US cities are either a flat tire, a flat battery, low gas or low oil. So they simply trained the drivers in those cities to be able to replace a tire, jump a car, and they carried spare oil and gas in the back. So the average wait is 45 minutes or 60 minutes for a roadside recovery truck, or you could just wait your 4 and 5 minutes and be on your way with Uber. So they could very easily, with that test, disrupt the entire roadside assistance industry. So you can see one little change, in fact, even in an app, it's not even a new app, could change an industry. That's what I talk about when I talk about the race for relevance. Are we selling product in a way that the customer expects to get it? And this is one of my favorite slides. I want you to imagine that all the people there at the end of the plank are your customers. Every one of us has a customer, no matter where we are in the value chain. And you're there at the other end. That's you on the plank at the little desk. And you can see what's going to happen if we don't stay relevant to the people that we sell to. If they step off the plank one by one and meet their needs in a different way, you can see how the business is going to go. It's going to tip and fall over that cliff. Now, in consumerism, it's getting much more challenging to meet the expectations of a customer. So we've got 6 different sets of consumers today. Everything from traditionalists to baby boomers to Gen X to millennials to Gen Z to alpha generation there at the end. And so even if you take this the center for, look at the music industry. You know, boomers and Gen X, we all enjoyed vinyl. Then the Gen X generation took music mobile on a Sony Walkman. The millennial generation, Steve Jobs gave them an iPod. And suddenly they were the white wire generation. Our music went digital. We bought as we needed. And now Spotify, you know, we stream everything for Gen Z. Now, obviously, alpha generation will take that on again. We keep changing the way we buy, changing the way we use based on technology, based on expectations. And that's the trick. You get left behind unless you change because the next generation of customer doesn't necessarily understand what or how you're selling. Have a look at this. This is our Gen Z kid being shown a cassette tape for the first time.
Give me a demonstration on how to listen to a tape. Oz, where do you put the headphones?
In there. No, you put it into a TV.
You getting any music out of it, Oz?
No.
I'm just getting rattles.
You're just getting rattles?
Yeah, how do you turn it on? Is
Do you
like
think
an
it
on
needs
button?
batteries?
Yeah. You plug it into like this, so basically somehow it plugs into like the TV and you have to watch it through there.
Yeah.
Or it
Is there
plugs
an
in.
AUX cable that goes into the TV?
Are you guys actually serious?
I'm deadly serious.
So this idea that, you know, the next generation of consumers don't necessarily understand what we're selling. And that's the same for B2B today. You'd be very foolish if you imagine that a B2B customer in a value chain wants to be sold the same product in the same way, because we're all changing. I had the similar example with my own son. My son is 14. He was saving his homework on his laptop the other day and he asked me, Dad, why is that save icon a microwave over a television? I thought, what? He'd never seen a floppy disk. Why would he? He's 14 and nor will he ever see one. And more importantly, he's not saving to one. He's saving to the cloud. So why are we showing him an icon that isn't a cloud? And this is where we get stuck in the way we've always done things. So I want to talk today about the values of our customer. And this is really important because sometimes I'll be using humanity and I'll be using consumerism and society to make these examples, but they're all relevant in B2B because we are all people and we're all selling something. And these are the values that we now hold dear in terms of how we interact with brands and businesses. The first one I want to talk about is flexibility. Really, really important. And so remember, the old methods meant that we did all the work as a customer. We went to the video store to get the tape. Whereas today you stay where you are, Netflix comes to you. In dating, we went to the bars and restaurants and made eyes and had a beer. And nowadays it all comes to you on Tinder. In fact, there's always continuous improvement. This is a real product that you can invest in. There you go. You can just have the app do all the swiping for you. But this idea is fascinating, you know? And so I started to think about the old versus the new and how we used to sell versus how we sell today. And I came up with this metaphor of a map. Let me grab a map here for you. So this is a map. You all know how these used to work. This is old technology. And to use this technology, this is a map of London. To use this piece of technology, you have to understand where you are. So where am I on this map? Now, you weren't given that location. You have to understand why my hotel is here. And then to get to Soho, you had to know, well, where is Soho on this map? So you had to know your start point, know your end point, and then you could use it. You could navigate your way through the world. So as consumers and customers, we understood that the world is a big, big place. And you're a small part of it, and you learn to navigate your way through the world. That's what this technology taught us. That was the old way, because today, the new way, we have what we call the blue dot consumer. And the blue dot customer is the world. They stand still in the middle of everything, and they expect everything to revolve around them. And this is a metaphorical change in terms of how we drive value through a value chain. So look at Uber. Uber as a brand, as a business, is a blue dot product. The product comes to you. You stay where you are in your apartment, in your restaurant, we will come to you. Look at the Washington one-tap beer delivery app in Washington, D.C. for Bud Light. You stay where you are, you press the button. Whether you're in your own apartment or someone else's apartment, doesn't matter. Within 20 minutes, 36 bottles of chilled Bud Light arrive at your door. Look at Booster, the app for gasoline. For years, we've been pulling our cars onto forecourts, wasting our time. It's like a tax on your time. No, why don't you go to work, park your car, pull the gas flap, lock all your doors, and go to work. And while you're at work and you order your fuel via the app, the truck will come to you. And of course, the gasoline is cheaper because they don't have any real estate. And so these are all new business models revolving around the customer, putting the customer at the center, and we're doing the work as opposed to expecting the customer themselves to do the work. And that's really, really important. Look at this one. This is from Robomart. And so Robomart, again, this is the beginning of an innovation thought. Obviously, it's kind of quite capitally expensive, but instead of you going to the store, why don't the store come to you? So it's kind of like online shopping meets Uber, I guess. I mean, this will probably be the most expensive apple that she ever buys. It'll be $65 for one apple. But the idea here is amazing. Why are we expecting customers to do the work? They now expect us to do the work. And actually, post-pandemic, this was really evident, wasn't it? All our online shopping came to us. Instead of going to the restaurant, we brought the restaurant to us. Instead of going to countries and traveling because we couldn't, we brought those experiences to us via virtual reality or YouTube. Instead of going to the office, we brought the office to us. So, the hybrid working place is here to stay now because we've changed the way we work. And then socializing. For me as a cyber behavioralist, as an anthropologist, I was fascinated by this. People satisfying their need for social interaction via digital platforms. And so we now know that we live in a digital first world, a technology first world, where basically you turn to technology for your needs first often. And so this changes the nature of everything. I was doing some work with town planning and urban planners recently, realizing that customers don't want the old way. They don't want to be told, here's the tram line, here's the bus, here's the timetable, here's the bus stop, and you must fit into our system. This is why the e-scooters are exploding all over Europe, because people want to move around those cities in their own way. They don't want to be stuck to timetables, they don't want to be stuck to routes, and this is what we need to adapt in B2B too. I mean, look at the success of Zappos when they were bought by Amazon. Whoever thought that you would order shoes online and that they would come to you in the mail? Who would have thought that you would order glasses online with Warby Parker and they would come to you in the mail? Who would have thought that instead of going to the dentist to get your teeth straightened or whitened, that would just come to you through the mail? So this is the idea here of centricity, of customer centricity is really important. So now that you're listening to this, you need to step back and think, okay, from a B2B perspective, wherever I am in that value chain, how can I make this more about the customer? Less about me, less about what we're selling, which is the old B2B kind of method, but more about what the customer needs and how we shape the product to the customer. So what does that blue dot look like for B2B? I think you need to sit with that for a little bit. And how can we make the customer feel, whoever your customer is, that they are truly at the center of what we do? Once you get that, you start to resonate with a modern consumer and customer value. The next value I want to talk about is the expectant nature of customers. So years ago, again, going back to the mobility industry, we would spend maybe 15 minutes in an airport queue or a train station queue waiting for a taxi. And today, we would not do that. We would expect the car to arrive using a rideshare app within 4 or 5 minutes. Anything more than that, we start to get angry. In fact, Shakespeare once said that expectation was the root of all heartache. The higher expectations, of course, the more painful it is when those expectations are not met. It's a little bit like a diving board. You know, that low diving board, the middle one, and there's the frightening high one at the top. And the pain when you fall badly. Oh, You all felt that, didn't you? Now, the problem is our customers are up there every day. That's where they are now. They have high expectations. This is an expectation ladder, which I've adapted from a guy called Martin Numer. I've put in a few more bits, but dissatisfaction is when we fail to meet their expectations. That's not good. Satisfaction is where at least we are meeting their expectations. But then you need to build beyond that into delight, giving them more than they expect, going forward, engaging them and having them as a tribal brand fan, eventually empowering them to be, part of the business. And for B2B, that's really important that we push into those level 2, 3, and 4 spaces for customer lifetime value. Now, often what we end up doing is just measuring satisfaction. And I have a warning for you, because measuring satisfaction is simply measuring what the customer expected anyway. If their experience matched their expectations, that is what satisfaction is. That's not a great place. And sometimes we even get that wrong. Let me tell you a story. A little 8-year-old girl loves Princess Ariel. Everything in her room is Princess Ariel, her carpet, her curtains, her duvet. So she asks her mom for her 9th birthday, "Can I have a Princess Ariel birthday cake, Mom?" And her mom says, "Of course you can, honey." So she has this expectation, and here you go. Expectation versus the actual experience. Never a great place. In fact, my own daughter asked me for a pancake recently. She wanted an Olaf pancake, so I did the best I could. Here's what her expectation was, and this was her actual experience. She had nightmares for days. It's chasing me. So that's the face of when we fail. It's not great. In fact, my sister ordered this Scandinavian top online with swipe up shopping, and she ended up getting this breast warmer. So these are the faces of dissatisfaction. So this is not a great place. So we do definitely want to be at least at level 1 satisfaction. But what I would argue is you have to take every moment of your customer journey in that B2B value chain and try and add additional value. I was waiting for my bag at the Venice luggage airport years ago, and I took this picture. I watched grown adults waiting for their bags. Come on. So you can make any moment more joyful on the customer journey. And we do this quite well in B2C, but actually we often forget to do it in B2B relationships. And they're the most important, that we form good relationships. So think about how you deliver above expectations with your customer. Don't just think about satisfaction. That's seamless and frictionless and perfect are just hygiene factors now. Our customers have high expectations of us at all times. And in fact, consider appointing a delight and excite director in your business whose job it is to measure delight and excite and to make sure that we have moments along the customer journey that does just that for our expectant customers. The next value I want to talk about is the need for personal. And this gets into the expectations that customers have. We call this generation me. We're all generation me. Me. Look at me. In fact, the selfie is probably one of the best kind of tests of that. Why are we so fascinated with ourselves? In fact, these are some of the world's most famous selfies taken at his grandmother's funeral. Like, she's dead behind him and he's taking selfies. His son drowning behind him on father-son raft day. Being put into an ambulance after a road accident and she's too busy taking selfies. We have sticks to help us do it. And did you know this? I didn't even know that this was a thing. The after-sex selfie. I Googled it when I was told, for research purposes, of course, 80,000 images. I mean, what would you be thinking? There's a toaster that you can get that burns your own face onto your toast in the morning. Now, I ask you, what kind of weird person would own a selfie toaster? Haha, me. Let me tell you a story about personalization too, which is interesting how it works psychologically. I stayed in this hotel years ago, Park 101 in Bogota in Colombia. I was there for a shopper marketing conference. Had never been in the hotel before. That's important. I checked in, I went into the room and I was met by this. They had personalized a bottle of water, a bottle of beer, a basket of candies with my name on everything. Now, I wasn't a regular guest, I wasn't a loyal guest, I was a brand new guest. When I ordered room service later on that night, they gave me some complimentary cheese with it, into which they put my logo. Now, that's personalization. It felt amazing. What was interesting was a few days later when I was in Texas or Arizona, I can't remember, the next hotel I stayed in, I remember being really angry that the water said Evian. Isn't that interesting? So I had this great experience and now I want to feel unique. I want to feel personal. I want to make it feel all about me. And lots of brands are trying to do this along the customer journey with technology. Here's a good example from the Hilton Honors app.
How about a room near the pool?
You're the one that likes to swim, not me.
I know, but it'll remind you of me.
You're right. That's the room for me.
With the Hilton Honors app, you can choose the room that's right for you.
And then they went one step further and with more technology, used the key.
I gave you the key when we were leaving the room.
I gave it to you at the pool.
Did he just use his phone?
He just...
Like bleep bleep?
Whoop, whoop. Open your door with digital key, only on the Hilton Honors app.
So again, using technology to make people feel special, make them all around them. So now you're going to your room opening with your key. And remember, we live in a world where everyone creates everything uniquely these days. They build their own everything is personal. So don't treat your customer like a transaction along a value chain. It's really important. We've gone now from mass production kind of sentiment to the point about that blue dot metaphor is that you wouldn't follow someone else's journey along Google Maps, would you? You follow your own blue dot, your own journey. So this is important that customers feel that they are unique, that they are special. So it's important to know who your customer is, see the customer journey, and then personalize it to that customer and deliver that unique service to them that they feel special. So personal, really, really important value. Now, the next value I want to talk about is authenticity, being real and genuine. These brands, will they exist in 15 or 20 years' time? Are they authentic? I'm not sure. Because actually, everywhere I travel in the world, the street food movement is booming. And it's booming because people love personalized service. They can see the product. The guy who owns the van gave up his job in accounting and grew a beard, and it's real, it's genuine. And remember, out there it is a competition, particularly in B2B. It's a competition, so you have to be unique and special in terms of why I should work and why I should buy from you. It's like Frankenstein. You can put all the pieces in place, but what's the electricity? What's the piece that jolts into it that brings it to life for a potential customer? And to me, it's all about relationships. It's all about the relationship that you have with a customer. And when you look at the definition of intimacy, for instance, intimacy is about fostering a sense of closeness. Now, how can you foster a sense of closeness with your customer? It's really important. And going back to authenticity, look at this image. You can see the shoppers have voted with their feet. One chain is owned by Coca-Cola, a big global chain. One is owned locally, and they voted with their feet. Here's a recent images. Look at the authenticity of one leader versus the old school, old system, old processes way of leading from another leader. And so there's a modern example of authenticity. So the question for you in B2B even, it's really important in B2C, but I think even more important in a B2B environment, what is your why? Like, why should somebody buy from you? Beyond the product, beyond the service, beyond the technology and what it does and the solution it provides, who are you and why? What do you stand for and why am I? So in B2B, we're starting to see a lot of people wanting common values. So what have you done today, firstly, that would tell your story? So what is the story? What is the brand story? And secondly, how can your business be more authentic, more real, more genuine? It's really, really important. It's a heartbeat value today, particularly post-pandemic for everybody. So it doesn't matter whether you're B2B or B2C. And the next value I want to talk about is collaboration. So collaboration is so, so important. Look at where we are post-vaccine. We collaborated to get there so fast. And we are looking at a generation, by the way, of real collaborators. I mean, the Gen Z generation have collaborated from the very beginning. Everything, every opinion, every thought is all shared. And so the sharing is in the blood. And we're moving from a passive economy to an active consumerist economy. So passive consumption is basically where someone produces and then you consume, and that's a passive role. Whereas now what we're starting to see is active, and particularly in B2B, active consumption. We want to be part of the process. Let me use a metaphor here again. TikTok is a great example. So you're all familiar with TikTok and all the dance crazes and things. Now, TikTok have a feature called the TikTok Duet, where basically you can put up content and someone else can put up content next to your content, merge it and create a new piece of content. So it's kind of collaborative, and anyone can do this. In fact, have a look at this TikTok chain. This goes on for 5 minutes. I'm only just going to show you 1 minute of it. Other people adding content to other content, creating new content.
Can we stop duetting videos when we have absolutely nothing to add to them? I don't need to know what you looked like watching that TikTok. Can we stop duetting videos when we have absolutely nothing to add to them? I don't need to know what you looked like watching that TikTok. Can we stop duetting videos when we have absolutely nothing to add to them? I don't need to know what you looked like watching that TikTok. Can we stop duetting videos when we have absolutely nothing to add to them? I don't need to know what you looked like watching that TikTok. Can we stop duetting videos when we have absolutely nothing to add to them? I don't need to know what you looked like watching that TikTok. Can we stop duetting videos when we have absolutely nothing to add to them? I don't need to know what you looked like watching that TikTok.
That goes on for another 4 minutes. But you get the idea. New things are created from collaboration. And so today, if you're a musician and you're putting out a video, the old method would have been putting it up on YouTube or Vivo, and people would have consumed the video. They would have watched it. Your fan would have watched it. Whereas today, you can put that same video up on TikTok and make a version that allows the fan to harmonize on the chorus or sing the chorus with you. So now the fan is in the video. Can you see the difference? The difference is active consumption. So from a B2B point of view, we need to really deconstruct the idea of us and them. So the future is a very collaborative space. It's an open innovation space. And so collaboration is really key to that customer lifetime value and the relationship that we're looking to develop with customers. So really collaborative is a real, again, heartbeat value. So those values I've spoken about, if you can reflect those values that are on the screen there into your business models and into the way you talk to customers and attract customers and retain customers, they are the modern consumer and customer values today that people feel are relevant, and that's how you win the race for relevance. Look, I've only had a short time with you. I'm going to hand you back now, but that's my newsletter, kenhughes.info/blog. If you want more of that kind of content, there's loads of it up there, as there is on the YouTube channel. And unfortunately, I don't have time for questions today, but look, there's my social media tag, kenhughes.ie. So I'll be online live right now. So if you want to ping a question to me and have a discussion for the rest of the day on social, either on LinkedIn or on Instagram or wherever you want to find me, I'll be happy to do that. Back to you there, Daniel.
Hello. Sorry, I'm going to jump in before handing over to Daniel. Massive thanks to Ken. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too. Blue Dot Economy. World rolls around me and I'm not moving in the world. Feels a bit narcissistic, but I guess rings quite true on a digital level, doesn't it? I've seen our panelists already in the studio sort of chatting around Ken's keynote. So I think those two elements will actually tie in really nicely together. So yes, our panel discussion will kick off in just a second. Daniel Urel, our EMEA VP for cybersecurity and NGS, will be hosting it. I'd like to call Daniel onto the stage, please.
Thank you so much, Carmen, and welcome everyone. And thank you so much for attending the emerging session this morning. It was great to listen to RAC, to the new tools that we are creating for you, just to make sure that we want to offer the best services to you guys. Then we could sell the way your customer want to buy first. And of course the performance from Ken was really, really good. And we were chatting during his presentation. I said, okay, it will be difficult to match his quality, but I'm very confident, and I trust 100% the panelists to make it successful. So let me introduce myself. So as Carmen said, I'm Daniel Urel. I'm the VP for cybersecurity for Westcon EMEA and Next Generation Solutions. I've been 20 years in the business with Westcon, 20 years in cybersecurity. And today, I'm very happy to host this conversation. And let me introduce you to the panelists. So, ladies first. Good morning, Susanna.
Good morning.
So Susanna brought 10 years of experience working with distribution with BlackBerry and Mytel now. So good morning, Susanna.
Morning, Daniel. Great to be here.
Thank you. And now, Gabi from Juniper, 2 years, coming from 7 years with Aerohive Extreme. He is in charge of the artificial intelligence, but he is there in person. So welcome, Gabi. Gabi? Okay, so Gabi having some tech issues. So let's move to Haider. Haider coming from Palo Alto, 3.5 years with Palo Alto, in charge of emerging territories, if I'm not mistaken, and 15 years of experience of emerging tech. So very happy that you're here, so we could compare and having your feedback about how your customers also in this very interesting part of the world would like to buy from us, and also I would like to benefit from Keith's experience in this conversation. Welcome, Keith. Keith has been in the collaboration world for market for more than 10 years, coming from distribution as well, Keith, if I'm not mistaken. So Ingram, if I get that correctly. And
that is correct.
The 8x8, just following a Rick Central experience. So welcome, Keith. So do we have that now? No, still not. Okay, so as you could see, the panel is very much involved into this ecosystem: hardware, software, services, and it's pleasure for me to host that, as I said, in subscription. So the main theme of this panel, guys, is about the how we selling the way our customers want to buy. But first of all, I would like to introduce also a great group of panelists, which is the audience. And next slide, please. And for the audience, I would like you to submit for this word cloud that will create our conversation and direct guide our conversation, our exchange with the panelists this morning. You submit one word, and then you vote for the response up and down, and we will see the word cloud build up together in real time, and then we'll take some words and we'll comment about that. So you could go on the right top corner, and you will see the word cloud coming, and then you could, as I said, put the word in this chat room. So, guys, so thank you so much for the time being. What do you think about this the ROI presentation lately? Hello. Maybe we could start by Susanna.
Sure, Daniel. Sorry, I didn't quite catch your question there. There was poor sound. So
how do you think? What do you think about the last presentation that we just seen?
Oh, fantastic! Right, the presentation from Ken was Ken is a fantastic speaker. I've always enjoyed his sessions, and I think looking at the way this blue dot generation. I mean, I know that I'm certainly one of those people that want things easy. I want it now, and I want it immediately at my fingertips. From a consumer perspective. So I very much appreciate his dialogue, and when we bring that into kind of where we are today from a B2B perspective, it really is this whole something to really translate into the business world, right? And that me mentality, which I love. It's like that spoiled child in us all that we want it now. Reality is that our businesses, our customers are, they have their own challenges, right? They have their own requirements. They expect things just as we do as consumers as soon as possible. They want to access it simply. They want to have choice and flexibility in how they're working. So it's really about how we embrace that as vendors, as partners, to really support our customers, right, in this whole new world. So I think it's really about making sure that we look to offer that choice, just making sure we're really relevant as well, offering the right set of products to really address the needs of our customers today. So quite a lot of complexity out there, but I think it's an exciting time. We're looking at, how do we effectively support the customer in a timely fashion in the way that they want to, and meet them where they're at. I think that's really key now as we move forward.
Thank you so much, Susanna. So, to the question, what is the biggest change in buying behaviors you have witnessed over the last year or two? It seems that the OPEX versus CAPEX and remote workforce are standing. Maybe following by hybrid working, which is about remote workforce, maybe monthly billing, which is also OPEX versus CAPEX, recurring revenue, going back also to the OPEX versus CAPEX. So it seems that it's all about the first two themes, OPEX versus CAPEX and remote workforce. So coming back to the remote workforce, let's start with the remote workforce. So what do you think, Keith? what did you see as the biggest change when it comes to the remote workforce with 8x8?
I think the remote workforce has always been here, right? As vendors, we've been talking about this stuff for the last 10, 12 years. I mean, what the pandemic did was force every company's hand. And if you start having a look at where your workforce now sits, I had 2 guys on my team. One was in Bosnia for 12 months, and it meant that there was zero impact in his workload, right? He got up at the right time, he worked UK hours, and he continued to function like we normally do. So although we've been talking about this momentum coming, all the pandemic was put a rocket into it and accelerate that adoption rate. It's now on employers to provide their employees the correct tools to stay. Because if you walk into an organization, they mandate you need to be sat at your desk, your employees are going to start walking out the door because they now expect it. Ken's whole piece around that passive to active consumerism, that's what's driving it, right? We all want to have instant access to whatever tools the company gets from your mobile, from your iPad. And if we can't deliver that nowadays, companies are going to get left behind. So I think it's on our partners and us as vendors. It's on us to make sure that we educate our customers as much as we physically can, but also sit back and listen. Because what we've been doing for the last 3-4 years, throw that in the bin, get a new whiteboard and start again, and start having a look at what your proposition looks like and educate yourself. You know, just listening to Ken's talk for the last 10, 15 minutes, I thought I knew quite a bit about our industry and what the market's doing. Wow, I need to do a whole heap load more reading because it's changing faster than even I can see.
Yeah, thank you for that, Keith. I think that you're right. If we are not, as usual, if we are not offering what the customer wants, it will be difficult for us to stay in the business, right? And the change of the expectations and coming back to Howard's presentation and then the Blue Dot, I think that we need really to make sure that we are offering what the customer expected. And when it comes to, again, remote workforce, Hyder, I don't know if I pronounced that well. Is it Hyder? Yeah, good. All right. Okay, thank you for that. So when it comes to this OPEX and CAPEX, Hyder, do you think that there is a big change in the buying behaviors? I know that we are working very well with all of you, and especially in the cybersecurity with Palo Alto. Did you see any change there? More requests on monthly billing, on consumption billing, maybe, or what is your view on this one?
So it's a great question. Firstly, thanks for having me on. I think we have to differentiate between the consumers and then, of course, the enterprises. On the consumer side, frankly, I don't think there's been a change because we've always provided sort of a subscription-based model for consumers to subscribe to, security services, whether it's buying the latest antivirus or whatever technology that you're looking for to secure yourself. Or any other digital tool that you're looking to buy. Subscription services is quite open. What we are seeing, as you rightly said, on the business side, is that there are businesses now that are looking for this buying model of trying to not just look at subscriptions, but actually do it in a way where they can be built not even monthly, in some cases even weekly or even on a daily basis as well. They're looking at cloud-based delivered solutions and subscription services that perhaps they don't want to consume from month to month. They only want to use it for a week or a couple of days. So they're looking for that type of a buying model, from organizations like us. And as you rightly said,
flexibility, sorry to interrupt, but the daily flexibility?
In certain cases, yes, even daily. I mean,
wow.
we deal with enterprise organizations that have a lot of developers or DevOps engineers, as we call them. And these engineers only need their workspace for something specific that they need to do just for that, particular day, and as part of their development lifecycle.
Are they ready to buy them? Because I know a little bit these DevSecOps people, they are going always for the free stuff, for the freeware. But do they make the step towards to buy for a week?
It depends on the industry, as you know, Daniel. So in the financial services industry, I think the answer is yes. They do, and they have budgets now that are specific to these types of acquisitions. In sort of the other kind of environments, we don't see that happening as much.
Okay. So how do you adjust in your industry, Susanna? Do you think also you see also the same request to have the services on the daily basis, weekly or monthly, or it will be more, let's say, Howard said that it's not the new normal anymore; it's a never normal world coming. Do you see the same request?
I think what we're really playing to within our business is the choice. We see that the importance of the capex model, we see that that's not going anywhere. But we also see the need to be flexible, right? We need to give that choice back to the actual customer and empower them and empower the partner to give that flexibility. So while I may not see maybe the kind of that daily piece yet, we're certainly seeing the demand for sure of needing combined hybrid models almost in terms of that flexibility of choice. So that's really where we're seeing a real shift change, and where it's key to offer, not only those conversations around cloud, but it's understanding fully what is it the customer is trying to solve for, and providing the right kind of choice to meet them where, as I said, meet them where they're at really.
Do you think it's an expectation because they have a budget challenge, or it's just the way that they want to consume? What we say within Westcon, there is a difference between, in the past, buy to own and pay to consume. Gabby, now, welcome back, by the way. I know that you have some challenges with your video. But within Juniper, what do you think drives this behavior? Is this a budget or more purchasing behavior?
Yeah, well, the question in my view is always, when it comes to end customers, what are end customers looking for? Because when it comes to capex and opex, we offer these kind of services for quite a long time, and I must say 10 years ago I was pretty excited around it, about the environment, well, the pickup of the market, and nowadays the market is still definitely growing from an end customer demand perspective. However, the question is always, for an end customer, do you want to either buy a service and get a service, or are you just looking at an interesting way of financing, right? That's typically the balancing act I see happening with end customers. Overall, it definitely is growing, because like every utility, I would say from a networking perspective, like in the business we are in, customers definitely just would like to service the utility, right? Instead of managing that themselves, and be able actually to focus on other challenges within their environment. That's what I see happening.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Keith, I saw you reacted when Hyder talked about the DevOps and SecOps with the different expectations on the daily, weekly, and so on. What is your experience? Could you share that with us?
I'm sure Susanna will agree on this one. In our industry, billing daily terrifies me. Because unified comms and contact centers is a completely different world. But I think it's absolutely true, right? The partner community and the vendors need to learn to adapt and sit back and listen, because not every customer is going to be the same anymore. You take that DevOps side, we've got a huge part of our organization that lives there. They're a completely separate beast, and they consume services so different to the rest of our organization. So it's on us as a partner community and a vendor community to make sure that we sit back and see what the market's doing and listen to what the customer's outcome is. But then also make sure that we've got the tools in our back pocket to guide them in the right direction. Because there's a point in listening and being complacent and just agreeing with whatever the customer does, but also having the skill set internally that we can look and challenge them on their expectation and make sure we help them put their correct foot forward. So I think however a customer wants to get billed, that's on us to all adapt. And the resilience word that Ken was talking about earlier keeps stinging in the back of my head. The ones that do adapt and are resilient and keep providing the correct kind of service and putting the correct offer forward for their customer, those are the partners that are going to be truly successful in this marketplace.
So there was thank you, Keith. There was also a couple of in the World Cloud saying about this again, this remote workforce. I know that it's back to between quotes normal today. Do you think that did change also the behaviors of the procurement because people were working from home? Do they have differences to procure than that when they were just working from the office? Susanna, any ideas about the different changes?
In just in the actions of the procurement.
Yeah.
No, I think we raised the point earlier. I think it's again about, well, there's a balance, and there's always a balance between watching the pennies and actually serving the needs of the what does the customer need in that moment. And I think it's just getting that balance right, that we're seeing, maybe a combination of both. Yes, the procurement is changing a little bit, but we cannot ignore what actually the requirements of the end customer is. I think Keith mentioned it already, just around no two customers are the same in terms of the requirement. If you look at verticalization, for example, different verticals, they have different requirements in terms of, they may have, for example, casual workers coming into the office that might suit them to do subscription, whereas they have, so it's what we're seeing is different behavior depending on the individual customer needs. So I think there's a balance definitely of, managing for sure that CapEx versus OpEx, the budgets around that, but it's also about serving the customer as well and making sure that they're giving the right solution to address their needs.
Do we know exactly, thank you, Susanna, sorry. Do we know exactly if this remote workforce did push the needs for the infrastructure or the need of security or the need of, and that will keep on going? Because I think that we were at the peak, okay, of the remote workforce a few quarters ago. And then people are going back to the office gradually. Do you think that we'll keep on pushing the request harder? I know that you are both on the hardware side, on the software, and the services. Right. What is your feedback?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when you consider and you take a step back, sort of the pre-COVID world and where we are today as we start to accelerate out of the pandemic, hopefully, is in the pre-COVID world, as you rightly said, and as Susanna also confirmed, is the pattern was obviously very different. Even if you think about organizations, many of the organizations out there generally had only have, I think, maybe 10 to 15% of their workforce planned to work from home. The pandemic strikes, now you've got to escalate that to almost 90% or even 100% of your employees to have the ability to work from home. So what we learned from that initial days of that pandemic was, a VPN was not enough. That type of technology helped you connect, but it didn't really provide the types of services that you need as a digital worker sitting from your home office, which CIOs call Office of One. And where we are today, as we start to add more and more services, as you rightly said, not just from a cybersecurity, but from an IT perspective, is CIOs are now really looking at applying new services to those digital work from anywhere environments. Yeah. And the focus is really on, not just the service, but also from a cybersecurity perspective, is how do we make sure that you can essentially be anywhere in the world. I mean, Keith used a fantastic example earlier about one of the employees. You can be anywhere in the world, but as long as you have the same security capabilities wherever you are, it shouldn't really matter. And from a working lifestyle perspective or behavior perspective, it really shouldn't change if whether you're in the office now or whether you're outside the office. So we think that's going to continue moving forward.
Okay, so what you're saying is the different change of the environment will keep on pushing the demand, okay, to new features and new services and so on. So, okay, thank you for that. And in the previous days, we saw also that because we're here to talk about buying behaviors, that the customers, 60 or more % of the buyers are looking for solutions online first, okay, and then they will select a few solutions and then try to go to the sales rep or the account manager or the service providers to get quotes or maybe advice. Gabby, in your world, how does this has been translated?
Well, that's actually a very good point, right? Because we're talking about behaviors, and behaviors have definitely changed over the last decade, I would say. Going into the next decade, customers are not interested into I would say let's say old-fashioned kind of selling methodologies, which is quite a change because most sellers tend to remain in the same habits like we all are, we're all human beings. But to your point, definitely customers are actually, scrolling through the web and talking to their peers. That's the way they actually do a pre-selection. So, and when they come out, for a tender or just for a bid, then to partners, then they just do the same selection again, right? So it's very important just to adjust your marketing, the way you approach the market with relevant topics, and that people get, let's say, quick answers to the questions they have out there, mostly online. And then, the selling is just way more advanced, right? If you really start to talk, to have old-fashioned conversations like we are doing right now, right? So, and definitely for the partner community, I would say what I also see is that customers are more and more looking for an end-to-end solution. Investment in in-depth knowledge and know-how on how to take care of the business of your customers more and more importantly into that.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad that you address these end-to-end solutions, because now the more and more the buyers would like to have a solution, not a technology. Okay, they want a solution for the challenge they have, and not just the vendor A, B, or C. They want a combination of everything. Okay, putting together. Okay, that could solve their issues. Coming back to the fact that the choice is made first online. What would you advise to our audience, Keith, when it comes to being among the selection, to be selected really online? What are you doing in 8x8, within 8x8 to make sure that you could be in the final choice?
I think it's getting into bed with the partners deeply, right? I think any partner that's got 5 or 6 vendors sitting in the background for a single point solution, they're going to struggle specializing by the true minds and hearts of customers. We've got a saying internally, one message, many channels, right? We make sure what we talk into the market, the partner community understands that exact same message so that they can tailor the customer experience around their own USPs. I mean, us all as vendors, we do 1 or 2 things incredibly well, but that doesn't make a full solution. Like Gabby was talking about, like, when we get into the security side of things, that's a dark magic for me, right? Like I look at it and it just makes my head sore. But the partner community that gets deep and wide within security vendors, within us, within Martel, within the likes of Microsoft Teams, et cetera, and understand how to build their value proposition to define the solution that they would like to put forward for the customers. Those are the guys that I'm keeping my eye on going, you're pointed in the right direction, and those are the ones we want to invest in. Because you're right, any customer can go into Gartner, they can download a Magic Quadrant for pretty much any piece of software application nowadays.
You're right.
But that's a high-level view. How do you then wrap all of the other services in the background to make sure that it's fit for purpose for that exact customer? Because I think every procurement person nearly had a heart attack when all of their staff had to go home. Not just thinking about how they're going to get their calls through, but how do you make sure their devices are encrypted? How do you make sure their connectivity is good enough that they can join sessions like us without being grayed out or disappearing because you lost connectivity? That's where the partner community comes into play. Because none of us here as a vendor can go and give the entire end-to-end solution to a customer. It's physically impossible. And that's where the partners that lean into Westcon and take all the value-added services that they've got and run through the enablement piece and sit with the marketing teams and truly design a unique experience for their company to position customers, they're the ones that are going to have true success over the next year.
And do you think that combination of different solutions could work in terms of being in the final choice from the buyers, Hyder?
It can. I think if you have the right consortium that can communicate effectively, that can integrate effectively, that can collaborate together, then absolutely. I mean, it's we are seeing. I mean, there's some industries that are doing a better job of this than others. Again, I take financial services because they're usually in the front end of technology adoption. But they're proving time and time again that when you start to integrate, back to Keith's point around making sure that you've got sort of one. It doesn't have to be, because there will never be one provider, but when you have multiple providers all collaborating together, that is a sort of a customized platform that you can build for your customers. So it is definitely possible, yes.
Okay, so and to make sure that you will be again talking about the changes of the buying behaviors. I've seen that lately that there is more and more communication about the alliance. Okay, the vendor technology combining together, kind of aggregation, in fact, of different technologies, building the ecosystem around, of course, your core technology. What would you advise the audience, the resellers in the audience, Gabi, to make sure that they know about this alliance? And that will be my final question. After that, I will do a wrap up because in question of time, we need to end this. Unfortunately, it's a very interesting session. But what would you advise, Gabi, about this ecosystem and the alliance?
Yeah, that's that is a very good question for partners to focus on. What we typically see is that the applications being used are just making the difference, right? Just to give you an example, for retailers, it makes sense to just to be able to engage with their customers in a digital way whilst you're shopping in a shop, right? That needs to be handled by that easy kind of applications around that. For example, universities, right, with the hybrid learning methodology. Universities need to work with people, students being in dorm rooms, but also now being out again on their own the faculties and so on. That's a big gap I currently see, especially from the partner community. That whilst there are many, let's say, niche players around there in the market with applications available, but I still see that the partner landscape is a bit of, I would say, especially from our end, more focused on the plumbing, if I may say it so impolitely. Instead of just getting that.
I don't know if they will like it, the plumbing. Okay, but I leave that with you.
Yeah, but I do think that's very important, that to create that application environment in a smart way, because that's where you differentiate from a channel point of view.
Okay, thank you, Gabi. So your advice would be to investigate around the core technology and to try to find the different partners in this ecosystem. So I started this conversation about the new buying behaviors by you ladies first, and then there will be ladies last. Guys, sorry, okay, this is my French touch. So Susanna. So, what would be your last advice for the resellers when it comes to adapt to these new behaviors?
I think we've all kind of touched on it in this call, but I think what's key is that, and I think Ken put it beautifully earlier, it's all about the customer. It's all about them. And if we understand and take the time to listen and really address what are the pain points we're trying to address here, that's where we'll win. And those partners who pivot, and as we talked about aggregation here, we've talked about pulling those solutions together. That's where they will win with that customer. So yeah, it's really about pivoting to the change that we're seeing, which is a lot right now, but making sure we put the customer at the heart of everything we're doing.
Okay, so thank you so much, Susanna and guys. A very great conversation this morning or this afternoon, depends where you are located. Very happy to have you and to listen to your advice for the audience. As you know, Westcon got these flexible payment solutions to make sure that we could adapt to your customer needs. We have also the aggregation piece that we will put together the different solutions. So I would suggest the audience to contact the account manager if they want to know more. So have a great day. Thank you so much again for attending this panel conversation. I hope that we could meet soon. Harder, because we are very close to Palo Alto. My expertise is more into the cybersecurity world, so it will be a pleasure to meet you, Susanna, Keith, and Gabby. But I think that you will be more in touch with Marianne. So thank you again. Okay, and I would like to leave the floor to Carmen. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. It's always a good sign when it feels like a discussion had to be cut off, right? I think that's a good sign that obviously there's lots to talk about. So I found that really, really insightful and interesting. Hopefully you guys did too. And going by the chat, and it's great to see lots of messages going in the events chat on the side. So keep up the chatter. It's always good to see and hear what you guys are thinking. So that brings us nearly to the end of our morning sessions. Before I release you into your break, though, it's award time again. So let's first hear from Steve Lockie, our Group MD for Middle East, who will be revealing the Partner of the Year FY22 for his region. Steve?
And the Middle East Partner of the Year Award goes to Manai in Qatar. We're aligned on so many government and enterprise projects across F5, Palo Alto, Forescout, and look forward to a fantastic year next year. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic news. Congratulations, Manai. And because it's the last day of our event, we're going to be double bubbling up on our awards today. So we're going to go straight into the next one, which will be our last regional award. So we made them wait to the very end. Apologies to the guys. We're going to be looking at our Southern European region, and it's going to be Mauricio Lavagna, our MD for the region, who will be presenting this award.
Hi everyone, I'm Maurizio Lavagna, Managing Director for Westcon South Europe. It's a pleasure to announce the Westcon Partner of the Year Fiscal Year 2022 for South Europe. This partner has shown a tremendous growth year over year on several vendors, especially with Avaya, Arbor, F5 and Palo Alto networks. This year has delivered both the largest Prisma Access project in terms of number of users and the largest deal in terms of value and revenue for Palo Alto Networks. The partnership is excellent and we both walk the talk, and alignment with vendors is always straightforward. I cannot really wait to see what next year holds for us and the success I'm sure we will enjoy again together. So the winner is BT Italia. Well done and congratulations!
Congratulations, BT. Excellent news. So, time for a break then. If any of the sessions, discussions, presentations this morning have inspired you, I know I keep repeating myself, but do go to the exhibition area, have a chat with our vendors there. Go into the Imagine Realized events calendar to see what's going, or what we have in store for you in terms of follow-up events after we close Imagine later on today. Have a little game have a little memory game during the break. And then again, the call out on the vendor breakouts today. So we're only going to have two, one for the UC networking channel and one for security, where it's not about technologies and products as such today, but around our vendors' support for you as channel partners to serve this new market and changing buying behaviors, I guess. So see you back after the break in the breakouts, and hope you enjoyed the session. See you later on. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the auditorium. We're nearing the close of this 3-day virtual event now, but we really want to try and end on a high, which is why we kept hopefully one of the best bits to last, which is our big EMEA Westcon Partner of the Year FY22 awards ceremony. So that will be presented by Daniel Lorel and Marianne Nickenik, our respective VPs for cybersecurity and NGS and UC and networking. So I will hand over to them, and by that also say my goodbyes to you guys. Thanks for joining us so far. Let us know what you thought of the event. But over to the guys now and the awards.
Thank you so much, Carmen, and welcome back, and welcome, Marianne.
Yeah, welcome back to the auditorium. I think we had an incredible agenda over the last 3 days together, the great event, opportunity to assess the road ahead and how to involve our business models as the world around us and customers' expectations are changing. We really hope you have all taken some valuable insights. After spending 3 days of looking ahead, I want now, with my lovely colleague Daniel Hurrell, take some time to look back and appreciate what we've achieved with our great partners together.
Thank you, Marianne. I will take the lovely one, okay? I will keep that in mind. Thank you, Marianne.
Please.
So kind. So now it's time to celebrate, guys. So we would like to recognize and thank you for everything that you've done for us this year, and we would like to recognize some outstanding reseller partners, okay, which have demonstrated the agility, the flexibility, and also the capability to face the future business strategy. And of course, we would like to recognize that with the Westcon support and how you could be the channel partner of the future. So we select 6 different areas, and let's start for the first award, the Software Leadership Partner of the Year. We, as you know, the IT channel is moving towards a software-centric model, and we would like to recognize our customers who are asking for demonstrate the real understanding, focus, and the excellent software in the software business in a substantial way. So the winner for this award in our cybersecurity category is one of the absolute key business partner in the DACH region. So maybe I should speak German now, but okay, my German is not that good, so I will keep on speaking English. They have grown their software business year on year by 240% with us. Okay. I could not disclose the number, but 240%, it's a lot of millions of dollars. They transact more than half of their security revenue last year on software solution, which is a huge volume. Again, it's a great partner across the full security portfolio. So I'm very happy and honored to award the EMEA Security Software Leadership Partner of the Year, fiscal year 2022. Accolade to Bachelor Wunderbar. So huge congratulations, Bachelor. Here to you, Marianne.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. So Bechtle, really cool for cybersecurity, but the EMEA Software Leadership Award for Networking and Collaboration is presented to a reseller with the highest percentage of software SKUs versus their total business with Westcon. This reseller has really significantly invested in the partnership with Westcon in recent years and have increased their software consumption from us as a distribution partner, taking their customers on a journey to simplify links, increase applications, performance, and deliver a high quality of user experience. We are so proud to be their distributor partner of choice for Juniper software-defined wide area network deployments as they drive digital transformation and improve connectivity for their customers. So it's a huge pleasure to announce that this year's Network EMEA Software Leadership Partner of the Year goes to Vodafone. Congratulations! Moving now on to the EMEA Global Reach Award, the winner for the networking category are truly embracing the opportunities and challenges of multinational and cloud customer relationships and operational efficiency. This ability is a highly important element of driving sustainability and scalable channel business. This award is presented to the reseller that has been the most active in helping increase Juniper's global footprint with Westcon. They have reached new summits by deploying Juniper's networking products, including routing, switching, networking management software, network security products, and software-defined networking technologies to all corners of the globe. With their first-class managed service offering, they are creating real value and business differentiation. By optimizing telecom network and IT operations, they are exceeding their consumer expectations as well as ours. This prize goes to Ericsson. Huge congratulations, very proud.
Thank you, Marianne. And I think this one you should have do it in Swedish, but okay,
Yeah.
that's just my.
Okay. Dutch is okay, but Swedish does not work. Daniel.
So for the security and NGS category for the EMEA Global Reach Partner of the Year, I could speak French. So maybe that will give you a clue about this the award winner. The winner of this award has been absolutely strategic for our global reach. We are trading together with them in 44 countries, so which is huge. The collaboration and work together shown in new routes and joint go-to-market ventures, great results for both organizations. So I'm proud to say that the EMEA Global Reach Partner of the Year, fiscal year 2022 category in cybersecurity goes to Orange. Félicitations. So I think it's my part. So now let's go to the EMEA Solutions Integration Partner of the Year. This award is especially dear to me. We have built an entire business around our new NGS go-to-market, and we built that 2 years ago. And we would like to make sure that we could recognize the channel Partner of the Year. They need to demonstrate a real expertise in the consultative approach to offer customers full best-in-class solutions. May this be made up to 2, 3, 4 technologies or vendors. Business solutions that solve a challenge which is really, really critical. So the winner of the EMEA Security Solutions Integration Partner of the Year is based in the Middle East. And last year alone, we tried 22 different vendor solutions, integration, security, and in NGS solutions, with also unified collaboration and networking, Marianne. It's a true leader in diversification and solution integration. It's a real great pleasure that I'm announcing the EMEA Security Solution Integration Partner of the Year, and I would like to say hi to my friend Stefan Berner, because the award goes to Help Info Technology. Congratulations, Stéphane.
Daniel, we have absolutely great partners. This brings us to the winner for the Network and Collaboration Solution Integration Award. A partner who supports its client without a doubt. Private company, public institutions, grid operators, and service providers, and all including digital transformation within the organization. They offer a really broad portfolio of solutions, cloud-based and managed IT services, software solutions, data systems, and data centers, corporate network, and collaborative solution and telecommunication infrastructure. And that in many countries in Europe, where we work everywhere very closely together. Can you think who the winner is? Well, it is indeed Vinci. But Daniel, we do not stop this award, promise, because we are heading now to the winner of the EMEA Cloud Leadership Award. The winner in the Network and Collaboration category is a leading Avaya contact center provider across Europe who has been delivering Avaya solutions for over 25 years. Wow, 2.5 decades of dedication. Westcon has been part of this journey from the beginning, and last December saw us collectively close a 25 million 3-year Avaya private cloud subscription deal. This is the single largest deal for Avaya across Europe. Can you believe it? I think an amazing job. It has been an outstanding year, and without any hesitation, this award goes to Sabio. Congratulations.
So in the security and the NGS category, this award goes close to my heart with Southern Europe. They are traded over $4 million into the SaaS and cloud business with us last year. Through Westcon, they acquire a CASB and a SASE solution, so they certainly attended our last year Imagine session, because we were SASE simplified, if you remember well. Is the world leading operators, okay, in the tourist expertise. The solution allows also them to access main corporate application, achieving a bridge between on-prem and on a cloud environment. Westcon support also this customer on a cybersecurity professional services with a high level of engineering for multi-vendor, accessing specialist skills that extend reach and its go-to-market capabilities, more than $10 million every year. This customer, through Westcon, also acquire a multi-year renewal for one of the largest banks in Spain. So you have an idea where it goes, okay? A proxy platform that allows secure access to multiple services. So it gives me the great pleasure to announce that the EMEA Security Cloud Leadership Partner of the Year for the fiscal year 2022 goes to Telefónica. So now let's celebrate the business expansion. The winners of this award have shown true resilience, focus, and adaptability to deliver incredible business growth in what we could hardly have been a more turbulent year. The winner of this EMEA Security Business Expansion Partner of the Year is based in Austria. They have moved more than double their revenue with us. our Austrian Westcon team, my colleague, has been a part of this journey with them before the company was actually founded. They have become a key strategic player, especially for our F5 business. So there is no surprise that they have been acquired. So that could give you also a clue of who that could be. Their excellent technical know-how, clear focus on proactive approach to a marketing as a service and end user enablement. So based on this outstanding performance, it's with pleasure that I'm announcing that the EMEA Security Business Expansion Partner of the Year goes to Open Network. Congratulations.
This year's EMEA Network and Collaboration Business Expansion Award is given to a special German partner that I personally know for over 20 years. Over 20 years of consistent and reliable partnership, and this partner is really to my heart. This is an Extreme Network Diamond and Palo Alto Platinum Innovator partner. This unique company won IT projects all over Europe in every possible industry and segment. From healthcare to public, from government and manufacturers to service providers and traffic companies, from TV enterprises to automotive. One of their key success is that they have dedicated themselves to achieving the highest possible certification status with any vendor they are working with. Their success is based on superb consulting, sales and support, and with us as a distributor of choice, which makes us more than proud. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Westcon Business Expansion Award is CMS IT Consulting. Congratulations from the team and thank you, Michael. Now we are coming finally to the end, even if we have so much more partners. But coming to our last awards category, we are very happy to present that the Network and Collaboration Service Enablement Award goes to one of our strategic partners in the Netherlands. They are on a mission to be the trusted digital partner in the Netherlands. Excellent customer experience is essential and services are key element. They do what they preach, no doubt. This partner has achieved the highest attach rate of Westcon services on our joint business. And for Westcon, this is truly a great partnership, and the award winner is the one and only KPN. What a big achievement. Congratulations.
So the winner for the cybersecurity and next generation solutions for the category of service enablement is our biggest partner in the Nordics. I know them personally. They are absolutely crucial to our Palo Alto Networks business in the region. They have traded a very significant part of their business through us. Not enough though, you need to spend more with us, of their security revenue and on services as well. So the EMEA Service Enablement Partner for the Cybersecurity and Next Generations of the year 2022 goes to Atea. Thank you. Congratulations. So thank you, Marian, so much to have shared this ceremony award together with me. And unfortunately,
it was a great pleasure, Daniel, to do that together.
Thank you. Unfortunately, this brings us to the end of our agenda for today and for this great event. You were more than 1,100 attendees on the first day. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, for listening to our executives, David Grant and Rack, for listening also to our keynote speakers. And thank you for them. Thank you for the panelist members. For the breakout sessions also, we have some successes also there. It was a good 3 days together, and I hope that your time was well spent. So you will be able to stream the full event on demand across the 3 days, okay? And I would strongly suggest you to do so if you miss some part. And of course, if you need any information on the different services that you saw during these 3 days, you can contact either Marianne, of course, for anything around unified collaboration and networking, or if it comes to the cybersecurity and next generation solutions, okay, you could contact me directly. But again, thank you so much for joining, and I hope that we will be again together next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.